Welcome to Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender. Now, this week's guest is a former Welsh legend, played for Cardiff, Exeter, the Ospreys, and the Lions in 2013.
Can I just stop you there? He's still a Welsh legend.
He is. Yeah. Okay, correct. It is Alex Cuthbert.
Yay, Katy!
One of the fastest players I think I've ever witnessed.
And he's a tall man.
Tall, fast, aggressive, modern day winger.
Modern day winger.
Yeah.
Very big.
A lot of hair,
Good beard,
Very good beard. Obviously looks after it.
obviously.
unlike some people we know.
Not you, Scott.
What do you mean?
You, Wurzel Gummidge.
Oh, I'm going to put another head on now. I'm going to take my nice head off and put my nasty one on now.
Ooh.
I'd like to see-
I left it in the back of the Defender.
That's cool. I'd like to see you with a little Craig David maybe one week.
Oh my goodness, with a little goatee.
Ooh, like a little thin.
I used to have a goatee when I played. I had a goatee, but my wife told me to shave it off because she said I looked like Lucifer.
Cuthy was fast, super fast, very quick. Now, if we were going to pick a animal 15,
Oh,
Yeah.
how old are you?
yeah,
Nothing wrong with that.
that was Phil's
I think it's
idea.
a great
Was it?
idea.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it was your idea.
Yeah,
What a good idea. What a
good
good
idea,
idea. What a
good
good idea.
idea.
What a good idea.
From 1 to 15, what animals would we put in each position? We'll start with Loosehead, number 1.
Loose head.
Well, the rhino's got to be in there somewhere, isn't it?
Oh, tight head rhino.
Tight head. Oh yeah, bigger
Yeah,
man.
Big,
Yeah.
strong, powerful. Doesn't have to do a lot. Just
Silverback
bang,
has to
scrub.
be in there.
Warthog.
Silverback, loose head.
Ooh. The orangutan just seems like the perfect hooker.
Long
Long
arms.
arms. Long arms.
Giraffes in the row.
Giraffe. Yeah, you
Giraffe.
can have 2 giraffes, though, too similar.
Okay.
Elephant and giraffe.
Yeah.
Bit of
Ooh.
weight.
Yeah.
Big behind. Could you imagine the
Yeah.
giraffe behind the rhino? Oh, tight head.
Yeah.
Up you go.
Yeah.
Nobody's
You're going
moving.
nowhere.
Back row.
Number 8.
Well, I've always fancied myself as a bit of with my mane, a bit of a lion.
What about a polar bear though?
Polar bear.
Bit bigger.
Polar bear. Oh, I like ice. I like scavenging for food.
You and me.
I could be. Right, I know I'm happy to take polar bear.
Okay, polar bears. Who have we got? 7.
6, 7.
7 has got to be, like a raccoon.
A raccoon.
Have you seen, Guardians of the Galaxy? You won't see him. He'll come out with a big gun.
Okay, raccoon. 6. We're going lion at 6.
Got to go big.
You've got to have a lion
Yeah,
somewhere.
lion.
It's a king. It's a
Well,
king.
what animal's got no ability? Just instructs them all.
Oh.
You can't.
Warthog.
Sorry.
A warthog.
Warthog.
Yeah, but are they big? We need a big lump at 6. We could stick lion in there, could we?
Lion would be.
Yeah.
Bit ferocious as well.
9.
9.
I always think you need someone who talks a lot at 9, don't you? Like a budgie, I thought.
Or a
The
parrot.
cat probably doesn't.
How far would a budgie pass a ball? No, macaw.
Okay, a macaw.
Macaw.
Okay.
Pass the ball. Pass the ball. Pass the ball.
River dolphin. Apparently they're super intelligent.
A river dolphin.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be good.
No.
What's it called?
Apparently they're just really clever river dolphins.
Are they?
Yeah.
What about a 12? A leopard at 12?
Ooh.
leopard,
Would a leopard not
panther.
be a fullback?
Okay, we've got a leopard fullback.
I
depends
think a
what-
12 is like a hybrid, a big animal with a bit of pace.
Ooh.
What?
What about an ostrich?
A warthog.
No, we'll go ostrich and cheetah on the wings.
Okay, fine.
Leopard at 15.
Nice.
Okay, nice.
Centres though.
Two centres.
Yeah, we've had lion already.
Wildebeest hasn't got pace, is it? It's
No,
endurance.
it's quite fast.
It's got a bit of like a dash though, hasn't it? When you see them on David Attenborough,
Yeah,
and he has to get away from a lion.
Only when
Yeah.
a lion's chasing it. I'd be quite quick if I had a lion chasing me.
Let's have a think. 12 and 13.
Skills.
Panther, a black panther.
I think a panther's got to be in there somewhere.
Okay,
Black
13.
panther.
13.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
Inside
right, 13 we've
centre.
got panther.
12, we need something rugged.
Have we had a warthog yet?
No, he's been thrown about, but he hasn't.
I think a warthog
I
would
was,
be.
I was thinking warthog for 7, to be honest.
Well,
Oh, he wants
yeah.
a raccoon because he's seen Guardians of the Galaxy. He's obsessed.
Unless we put a raccoon in a 12. Are they
Okay.
not big? No.
We'll have a warthog at 12 because you need something to
Balance that
Yeah.
leopard out, isn't it?
And they're strong, they're powerful, they're aggressive.
I've got to be honest with you, this is the first time I've ever done this sober. So who's coaching?
We should have had
So who's coaching this rabble? Who are you
Oh,
going to listen?
Dr. Doolittle.
Who are you going to?
won that first test and I was so high, and then bang, Rob Howley grabbed me, we're dropping you. I'll be honest, that was the first time in my whole life I'd ever been dropped.
You win the championship with probably one of the greatest games I think we've ever seen at the Principality Stadium.
Within 5-10 minutes in the game, we just had that feeling like we were going to absolutely hammer them. I walked through the team room, bang on there was the Irish Telegraph picture of like one of the lads with a bottle of champagne spraying it all over us after getting absolutely hammered. And we're like, oh shit, we are in real trouble here.
Come back to the Ospreys then. Tough decision?
It was even tougher because when I was at Cardiff, I hated the Ospreys. Wayne Peaback rang me and said, mate, we want to call you back into the squad. And that was probably one of the best phone calls I've ever had.
Yeah, all I hear is negativity coming out of Wales, and I totally understand it. What you've got is broken, isn't it?
Alex, welcome to Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
And now, before we start chatting about Welsh Rugby Union, Exeter, Cardiff, Ospreys, all that, Gloucester. Do you play Gloucester?
No.
Good question.
Where did that come from?
My family.
Hartbury.
I went to Hartbury, yes.
And he's from Gloucester.
There were so many clubs there.
Yes, so just on the edge of Forest of
past
Dean.
me.
So my parents got a farm there, so I went to Hartbury.
Yeah.
And that's what I
Before we
guess-
get onto all that, Katy normally likes to do a little warm up with a quiz, but she has thrown her toys out the pram, so we've got to do something else. We've got a little competition here with marshmallows, and the competition is who can build the highest tower in 30 seconds. Is everybody
Cheating.
ready?
Phil's cheating.
Is anybody ready?
Phil started.
Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. We've got 30 seconds here. One on top of the
Have
other.
you gone the same colour?
There are no rules. You just have to build it as high as you can. And it's for those with nimble fingers. Anyone else can talk. It doesn't have to just be me.
But you're good at it.
Right,
Good.
But you don't stop
I'm
talking, so let
concentrating.
other people talk.
You'll know if I'm concentrating because my tongue sort of come.
Very
So
nice.
any... Oh! Damn.
Yeah, there's a technical.
Oh
There was
no!
definitely a technique to this.
Oh, Georgie!
3, 2, 1. Shit! Mine just broke.
Phil's
Phil's
cheating.
cheating.
Okay,
do it.
stop.
Phil's cheating.
Get your hand
stop,
off it.
What
Stop.
do you mean?
Let go.
I think Scott might have been the winner there.
Oh!
It just fell over.
In case
Well done.
I was doing
Good
really
done.
well then,
You were actually.
and then that was...
There was no winner to that.
It's a bit- it's a bit of fun.
Just a bit of fun. Just a bit of fun.
We've all go on. Try and get one. Go on.
In the mouth, is it?
Oh, hang on, that's bad.
How can you miss that?
Yeah!
Do it again. Go on.
Yeah! Last one more. Yeah!
Yes.
Right. She's never let us have marshmallows again.
Oh, sorry.
Do you know normally when people say don't try that at home? Try it. Try it.
This is going to be one of
Try it.
This is one of those challenges where that people are listening to this on a different platform will have to turn over to YouTube to watch it.
Have a little look.
That was just content. You know.
Oh.
Is that what the kids are
That's
looking
exactly what they're after.
for? Alex, we're going to start right at the beginning.
Yes,
So,
go for
as you alluded to, born in Gloucester and grew up there, when did you find rugby? When did it start?
Well, my old man played a lot of rugby for a team called West Beyond 7. Phil will know that, not far from there. And I remember just being down at the rugby club. So my dad used to have this nickname called Tuckbox. And then obviously when I joined, I used to be called Tuckbox Junior. And then my brother got to say that. So
I don't think of that one.
very
clever.
Pretty much, it's West Beyond 7 here. But yeah, that's probably where the rugby, I guess, in my family sort of came from. And then as I got older, obviously I was doing loads of other sports, whether it was horse riding. So I used to do a bit of show jumping. Yes.
I love to see a
Not
photo
many
of you.
people know about that.
Right, your horse must be
I'd have to send you a picture, don't I?
big
You won't
lad,
believe me.
big horse.
I was quite tall, but I didn't grow. I wasn't really tall until about 15, 16. And then I was doing a lot of athletics, so that's probably my main background was athletics, really. And then rugby, it didn't really kick off properly until I went to Hartbury College, really, to do my A-levels.
So what did you do in Hartbury? Did you do equine or did you do
No, I went
rugby?
there to just do my A-levels. And,
right.
I was doing, and then I started rugby with Sean Lynn, who was one of my tutors.
Did you?
Yeah, so I know Lily somehow he got me through
Good
the
lad.
2 years there.
You're a brilliant guy.
Great bloke. So then I played a lot of sevens in my first year at Hartbury, and played for a team called Marauders. So you travel all around the summer, and I
By
remember-
sevens?
Played, yeah, but this is way before I played in Bath. I think 2008, I think it was. No, when was the Lions? In 2009.
2009.
Yeah, so I played in Bath 2009, and I remember watching the second test there in the Lions. And that day, poor John managed to see me play.
Yeah.
He said, found out that my mum's side was Welsh, and asked me then, from then, Hartby, to go to Cardiff Uni to play Wales Sevens.
And
How
is that
old-
when
how-
you... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, how old were you when you realised you're actually like super fast? And actually,
I was never
rugby is the
known
way
for
you.
speed when I was younger, see. I did 400 metres, 800 metres.
Don't worry about it, I was the same.
When did you realise?
When do you realise?
We
Still
never
realise.
pushed on.
So, like, I never did 100 metres at school. I was always the longer distances, cross country. I think as I got older, and I guess just, with the weights, that the training schedules, and my stride length is just long. I never looked fast. I guess I just cover the ground. But
You're so tall, that's why.
yeah, probably. But, and I guess the sevens suited me down to the ground, because it was like, I'd just get the ball and I'd just try and run around.
gas
Yeah,
it.
I was pretty, my rugby knowledge, even now, to be honest, I was never a natural rugby player. I was more of an athlete, and then the rugby sort of came in hand in hand, and I just was one of them where I'd get the ball and just try and run around, like at school.
I just felt
run
like
around the
running,
edge.
so I did.
So I literally did. So I remember playing for first game for Wales in Dubai Sevens now.
Yeah.
Good for, I was 19, playing against South Africa, who were the reigning IRB champions. Lloyd Williams was inside me, winged me the ball, just go on the outside, run round it, and everyone's like, who is this kid? I was about 80 kilos soaking wet, and like long hair. And then that was the start. I remember getting back from Dubai, and Cardiff Rugby rang me up, Cardiff Blues. I said, yeah, we'd like to offer you an academy contract. I was like, bloody hell, yeah, go on then. And
I'll do that.
from
When you
then
were
on.
at Hartby, who else was there? Because it's like a pathway for the women's game.
Oh, there was
So-
loads. Johnny May, Henry Trinder, that was our back line. We had a pretty mental
pace.
team. Yeah, we had a bit of gas there. Tom Savage, obviously still playing now.
Was there a lot of Welsh, because a lot of the Welsh sort of younger players, so 16, 17, 18,
Yeah.
a lot of them go to Hartbury now. It's
the college.
It's a breeding ground now.
Yeah, so they do the college, so whether they do A-levels or rugby or
Yeah.
whatever, really, and then they go to the senior team. So my last year at Hartbury, I actually played for Hartbury senior team, and we were in like Gloucester Prem, and we were playing teams like Chosen Hill and winning like 110-0. I was getting like 5 tries a game. I was like, wow, this is
Why did you ever
very
move?
good. I know, exactly.
Absolutely
You've got to
brilliant.
remember that it's Hartbury College originally, because Sean, coach,
Lynn.
Lynn.
No.
Sean
Sean Holly.
Sean Holly started it all.
Oh, God,
Really?
yeah.
So there's always a strong link to Wales anyway.
Yeah.
So he got a lot of Welsh.
Then Alan
boys
Lewis
across.
came.
Then Alan Lewis came. So there's always been a real.
I did a talk once at Hartbury College. They said, we'll come in and do
Yeah.
a talk. And it's the only time I've ever done a talk to a group of people and to students with 2 tractors in the background. And I thought, I love
This is the place for you.
I love this place. It's absolutely amazing.
It was
It's
a great
amazing.
couple of years there.
Yeah.
And I remember probably the scariest conversation I ever had was having to go into Alan Lewis's office and tell him that I was leaving Hartbury College to go to Cardiff, who was like the rival of university at the time.
So you could have stayed at Hartbury.
Yeah, they asked me to stay, but I just I wanted to obviously go down this Wales Sevens route and do union. over
You
there.
obviously could have played for England or Wales. Was it always going to be Wales?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I'll be honest, it was. I wanted to go to uni in Wales, and that made that even easier then. And yeah, obviously, I never thought I was ever going to play rugby for Wales. Like, I was just playing sevens.
Yeah.
And when Paul John gave me a ring, Craig Hill actually told Paul John. So Craig Hill, Wales won the World Cup 2009, and I joined that team literally after winning the World Cup. So I guess it's just a bit of luck as well as.
Was James Merriman still playing then?
He just finished, I
Just
think,
finished.
yeah. So that first year I played was like, so Justin Tipperitt was there, Lloyd Williams, myself, loads of other lads that went on to play for Wales and for
Nez
London.
is my daughter's godfather.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Good man. He was
He's a good man.
They had a hell of a team, mate, to win that World Cup. Didn't they?
Tal Selly.
Tal.
Tal Sarevi, they called him by the end.
Oh, Tal was the Scarlets with us.
Yeah, he did all
Loads.
four regions.
Alid, I think there was Alid Brew.
Yes.
Was there. Loads of that.
Reece Williams,
Some
Robin
pace.
Soden Taylor.
Yeah, they
were
were
there,
all just
yeah.
before me, yeah. So they had some, like the Sevens program
Huey, he was
when I was there. Like Hookie was playing, Andy Powell, like these are all Lions. You know?
Yeah.
It's mad, really. That obviously it's gone now, isn't it? But
It's such a shame because the sevens gives so many opportunities, not just specifically for sevens as players, but opportunity to expose players to
pathway.
And to travel the world as well, and see parts of the world.
It was pretty cool as a 18, 19-year-old, and we were going to Dubai, South Africa, New Zealand, Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas.
I wasn't actually.
You couldn't even go in. You couldn't go anywhere.
I don't know. I'd probably get told, but I had some fake ID I got. But
they went to all
the contract that we had in the sevens is because I was at university at the time and I was skin. So every time we got to a quarter final, we get paid £500. So I was all right, lads. We just need a quarter final.
Yeah.
Because that £500 would last me from one tournament to the next in university.
Amazing.
So literally, we were right. We just need to get quarter final, get paid.
What about winning it?
Pardon?
Winning it?
Nah, you never. We had the likes of Fiji, who had William Ryder playing. The South African team there, they had Wendell Stick, who was obviously coaching South Africa. All these coaches now are all players, all coaching now. So Vegas was pretty good as a 19-year-old. I remember going there and they had, I think, Samoa.
What was the rugby like?
Rugby was, it was all right. I think it was the earliest exit we had, to be honest. Because we had a pretty young team, and obviously you go to Vegas, and as an 18, 19-year-old, it was literally like we were all rabbits in head. Yeah, so coaches were trying to obviously keep an eye on us. You can't leave the room, you're not old enough, and that's like...
I've got a fake ID, mate.
Yeah, fake ID, we get in.
Yeah, done on paintbrush on my computer.
Grew my beard a little bit longer, just to get...
This obviously segues into a little social that I got told about. 2014, you just got hammered, I think, by Ireland. And weren't you leading the charge for the social in the evening? Which made the Irish papers or the Welsh papers the next day.
Yeah, it was pretty... not too many people know about this story, but we obviously, after the back of 2013 and obviously Warren dropping the Driscoll, we knew the next Six Nations was going to be huge against Ireland away. And... they smashed us, they beat us up front, but as a back line, I thought we were pretty solid. That's what we thought. And Warren was like, right, lads, no one's going out. You're staying in a hotel. You've got to be, back in bed by like 12. And there was a couple of us who were like, we can't stay in a hotel. We've got to go for a few beers. So we went to the pub around the corner. I think we were in the north side. And obviously, after a couple of beers, all right, should we go out in Dublin? We haven't been out in Dublin for a while. A couple of Guinnesses. Yeah, we ended up going into Dublin maybe about midnight. We were like, we probably should be back. And then ended up going to another place called Crystal, until not sure what time we came in, but thought we got away with it. Literally came into the hotel, no one saw us sneak in, flew home, had the whole weekend back at home, came in on Monday morning, came down the stairs in the Vale. So you walk into the Vale and then you go left down the stairs into the team room. I passed a couple of the lads and they were like, oh, wow, you're in trouble. I was like, what do you mean? Thinking, got away with everything. Go down, do all my monitoring. I walk through the team room. And in the team room, they have this massive projector and usually has like team plays or video. Bang on there was the Sunday Telegraph, Irish Telegraph picture of like one of the lads with a bottle of champagne spraying it all over us after getting absolutely hammered against Ireland. And we're like, oh shit, we are in real trouble here. And I could see Warren, he's seen us walking, because I was with like three other lads. And he didn't even say anything, which then
didn't need to.
Is real bad. And then week went, because it was a fallow week, so we got absolutely hammered all week. Come the fines committee on the Friday, we had a pretty big fine, So I pretty much played the game for free, I'll be honest.
Minus the cost of the Crystal.
Oh, yes, yeah. And,
but then you knew not to do it again, so it's a learning process, isn't it?
We knew not to do it. We did it again a few times, but we thought we got away with it, which was, that was the funniest thing.
Stick to Rugby, brought to you by Defender.
Right, going back to travelling the world as a 18, 19-year-old, you're doing this, it's absolutely amazing. You got your £500 to take back to university, and then Cardiff come a knocking.
Yeah.
Was it a hard decision then to sign a professional contract, or had you had the bug of the £500?
The sevens was pretty good. So I got back from the Dubai and George sevens at the time, and I remember a guy called Gethin Watts. I don't know if you guys know him, but he was the academy manager at the time. And we used to play this joke at uni where we'd like ring random lads who like thought they were going to be professional rugby players and be like, "This is such and such from academy. We want to sign you," and people would, we were pretty brutal. But Gethin Watts rang me like 2-3 times, and I thought it was one of the lads, like taking the piss. And it took me about 3 calls for me to tell him to F off. Him to be like, no, this is real, this is real. And they offered me a 2-year contract when Di Young was actually in charge. Yeah. And no, it was pretty easy. Cardiff was the team that I thought when I got into Wales Sevens, they were the team I wanted to sign for, and I signed, and then Di left about a month later. So it was a bit of a different.
That's when he went to Wasps, wasn't it?
Yeah, he went to Wasps. Yeah. But I signed the year after, so I had my first year in uni as a fresher, knowing that I was signed a professional contract next year, so I could sort of enjoy year sevens
living the dream.
The uni life. Yeah, so it was that was the first year, or my last year probably, where it was a bit of normality, I guess.
It's brilliant.
Perfect, so it worked out quite well, yeah.
And getting, was it easy transition then into the 15 games with that because of the sevens?
No, it was pretty tough because I played obviously 15s, but it's different when you're playing for West Brom 7, my old man, to playing
so
for.
You haven't played a huge amount of the 15.
I hardly.
Have you?
Only
on that level.
Oh, but not. You can play as a youngster and obviously when you get to like Cotswold, but men's level at professional level is it's hard to explain, isn't it? It's such a big jump. And my first year, well, my second year in the academy, because the first year I was injured a lot, and we were training down in Treforest, like Ellis Jenkins, Harry Romps. There was about 5 or 6 of us who all come up together. And I started pre-season with the sevens, but then when I finished my pre-season sessions with the sevens, I had to go to Cardiff then in the afternoon. So I was doubling up. Yeah. And then I guess I must have impressed Gareth Baber and Bernal at the time enough to then put me in for a pre-season game against Bath. And I remember playing the game, and Casey Lala gave me the ball, and I just did what I did in the sevens, get the ball and run as fast as I could, and I scored a try in the corner. And since then, I just started every game, and I guess I sort of had to learn very, very quickly. First game was against Treviso, and from then on, I played nearly every game for Cardiff for about 8-9 years.
And it's incredible when you think, because the size, you know what I mean? What do you, 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, about 6'5", yeah.
6'5", coming in, and the pace. Were there any other conversations of maybe, sort of playing in the back row, playing on the wing, or was it your pace that always said you're on the wing?
I think my pace was my point of difference, and then obviously my size, my aerial game. I guess that these are things that obviously grew as I got older, but my pace was my point of difference. Yeah. I think when I first went into the academy, I was about 89 kilos. I think when I finished, I was about 103. So I put on an awful lot of weight in a short period of time, which is probably why I was quite injury prone, hamstrings and back and stuff like that. But when I got it right, and then I produced on the field, but I was still learning the game. I was very, very raw. I wasn't like playing international levels at under 16, 18s, 20, and you learn the game. I played sevens, and I literally got thrown in straight away.
What year were you capped then, Cathy?
That year, my first year at Cardiff, 2011, I got capped. Shane Williams was last game straight after the World Cup. Yeah. So I played. What's
it like? It's sort of more, almost yin and yang.
Literally,
you know what I mean? You didn't wear any of his leftover kit.
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, we were struggling a little bit with that, weren't we? But I turned up, I remember, in my Hewitt kit, and they were like, who's this scraggy uni kid?
Long hair everywhere.
Long hair.
Like fade on the side.
6 months before, I had Jamie Roberts watching me play for Hewitt seconds against Cardiff school, Cardiff colleges, and at Hewitt, I was a nobody. And then I'm rocking up in the autumn in front of Henson, obviously Dan Bigger, all these, Jonathan Davis, and they're like, who is this guy? I'd only played 3-4 games for Cardiff, I think, at the time, and more. And I was lucky actually to even get on the bench, because I think Jonathan Davis pulled out, and I wasn't going to be involved, and I ended up being on the bench. Yeah. So, and then that ended up being my first cap. And
do you think that took the pressure off a little bit coming in? It was all a whirlwind. You almost didn't have time to think, did you?
I just took it in stride. I was living with 8 lads in uni at the time. I think that probably helped as well. They pretty much kept me pretty humble.
When you were sat on the bench the first time, did you want to get on or not?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was hungry.
I was the opposite.
But look, the weird thing is, I was against someone who I was like a big fan of in Digby Ione. In terms of, I watched a lot of rugby, obviously. Him, obviously, when he was at the Reds, and he was my opposite number. I was like, wow, I'm actually going to play it. That was the sort of feeling I had.
But you see, mine was
different.
I was front row. We were in Paris against the French.
Oh no, I wouldn't.
And Christian Califano, Frank Tournaire, I think Benazzi was still playing. I was just sat on the bench going, please don't let me get on.
I will say that is the only time on the bench I've ever wanted to get on. So I didn't care. But when you're on the bench, when you get older, you're like, oh, shit, you don't want to be coming.
Playing the game. I think it might have been 2002, maybe against New Zealand. And do you remember Jerry Collins, Wallops, Colin Jarvis?
Yeah.
That's the game after I retired.
Was it?
Yeah. So that was the game. Yeah.
Honestly, it's a massive hit, and
Jerry
Colin
Collins
Jarvis was out, and we're watching it.
That's why I
We're
retired.
watching it on the big screen, and I'm thinking,
yeah.
I don't want to be here.
He's a scary man.
He was
It's horrendous. Or hell of a player. But so you get capped. You go on to a Grand Slam in 2012. Scored a try against France.
Yeah, I think that campaign, it was a good day that was. So I think they lost to France in 2011 World Cup. So that was quite a big game in terms of obviously losing to them in the World Cup and winning it for a Grand Slam.
Woulda, shoulda again.
Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, you talk about where that's probably Wales' closest chance ever to get.
Yeah, to a final.
Yeah, I think if you spoke to a lot of the boys in that squad, they would have probably backed themselves to win that. I was lucky, I guess. I joined a pretty phenomenal team, really.
And then the following year, the 2013 Six
Yes.
Nations, you don't win the Grand Slam, but you win the championship with probably
Was that
one of the greatest games I think we've ever seen at the Principality Stadium, the 30 points to 3 win against England, where, again, you score an unbelievable try.
Yeah, lucky enough, I got had Tips obviously inside me. He was probably one of the most,
what a pass that was.
probably top 3 best player I've ever played with, I think.
Is that the best atmosphere you've played at?
100%, by a mile.
Because everybody thought that game was going to be close, didn't they?
Well, we had to win by 9 points to
Yeah.
me. Because I remember the week before we played Scotland away, and I remember, I think we should have scored in the corner. It would have been a bit closer. It would have been only 2 points difference, and I think Hibbs didn't pass or something like that. And it was another night out. There was another night out, actually. That was the Burger Gate. I don't know if you ever read Biggs' book, but talks about the Burger Gate that night. That was another curfew that no one listened to. And then obviously the England game, it was supposed to be close, and it was first half, wasn't it? And so I remember tearing my hammy after about 25, 30 minutes in that game. And I remember shouting to Kark, who was Mark Davis, who was the physio at the time. He was like, yeah, literally that. I was like, mate, I think my hammy's gone. And I was like, don't say anything, just strap it up as tight as you can. And half time he worked on it. And then second half, it was like we were another team. We just knew within 5-10 minutes in the game, we just had that feeling like we were going to absolutely hammer this.
I think that was the first time at the stadium where the roof was closed, but it was dark. It had all the pyrotechnics, it had all the lights. It was an unbelievable atmosphere, and it felt like, this is massive. This is a cauldron, and I don't think,
stadium.
and I get to watch a lot of the games there now, and I don't think I've ever seen that like it was for that game.
There was Scotland. I think. Do you remember when Shane scored the last minute
2008,
try?
No. It was 10, I think.
10, yeah. When
It was just
Howley's
before
back
that.
in, wasn't it?
It was that sort of atmosphere. It was Ireland when we won the first Grand Slam. That sort of. There's 4 or 5 games that you'd say that
Well, I was there.
You know what I mean. I was there, and that England game was when you scored that try.
The second try I scored, it was frightening. How I remember Biggs jumping up on me, and he was screaming, and I couldn't hear what he was saying. It was like, seriously, it was on another level. And that was the only game I've ever been in an international game where I scored, and I was like, we had 10 minutes and we knew we won. So we were just it was the most enjoyable 10, 12 minutes I've ever had on an international game.
Of course, because the pressure of that game as well, because we all talk about playing under pressure and controlling that pressure and using that pressure. I don't think I've seen Wales do it any better than that, because not only was the championship on the England game on the line, there was Lions throw on the line as well, and there was the pitted against each other, and there was just at the end of that, you know what I mean? It was just they were all taking okay, Australia, thank you very much, off you go.
And they were going for a Grand Slam as well, because obviously we got absolutely hammered against Ireland at home, which weirdly is quite easily forgotten, but we'd lost 8 in a row, so we had to go to France away, and I remember. That was the most. We probably had more pressure on that game than we did the England game. 100%. France away when George scored in the corner and his old man runs onto the field. We're like, who's this hooligan? And George's like, that was my dad. I was like, what?
But he didn't realise till after.
No, he didn't. He's like, I think he ran across and Biggs was like, I think that was your old man. He goes, really? Was it? But that we lost 8 in a row from winning the Grand Slam and then to suddenly win that championship.
But the interesting is, because we all talk about success, and we talked about this in other podcasts, we all talked about success. What was the chat in, you lose 8 in a row, and for Gats, he almost went through Grand Slam, fallow period, Grand Slam, you know what I mean, lose, and come fourth in the championship. When you come to that 8 loss, what's the chat in and around the camp? Because there was a hugely experienced squad and coaching staff.
Yeah, massive. And that was the year where obviously Warren was on his sabbatical because obviously he was the Lions coach at the time. So it was obviously Rob Howley was the head coach and we had Mark Jones, Boise, who was our backs coach, who I really rate as a coach, and he was really good. That was a very player-led tournament in terms of we had obviously likes Alan Wynne, Warby, Gethin Jenkins, Jonathan Davis, Jamie Roberts, like Mike Phillips, just read off the names. And I remember we lost Ireland, but we were really, second half we were unbelievable. We came back and we won quite well. And I think that sort of gave us, like, hang on a minute, we can do this. Like, come on lads, we won the Grand Slam last year. We don't want to be losing out the championship as easily, because that was one of the big mantras. And when we did win a championship, Warren was like, how do we put our best foot forward to try and keep hold of it, because it's so hard to win. And I remember that France away, we didn't train well all week. We were awful, and I remember it was just instant. We just spoke about moments in games in terms of like keep it simple. Sean Edwards was very good in terms. I think that tournament we only conceded 50 odd points, and I think we knew if we conceded less than a certain amount every game, we were going to win. Yeah. And we did, and we went into that England game. I said all week to the lads, I was like, we're winning this by more than 9 lads. And
put a little bet on, did you?
I didn't put any on.
Don't start that. Don't start that.
From that game then, you get selected for the Lions in 2013. How did you find out? Were any inside info before?
No, nothing at all. And obviously because
that was a live television. You found out.
Yeah. Literally, I remember I tore my hamstring in that great game.
Carried on.
Played the whole game. Got it scanned after, and I had a grade 2 hamstring test. I'm not sure how I got through it, but yeah, no clue. And then I started going back to training, and we were out training at the time, and they called us in, big screen. And obviously I was pretty early on after Tommy Bowe, and we were supposed to go back to training, but I remember the feel, I was like, I'm not training, mate, I'm going. Went straight. Rang my dad, and I was like, Dad, I got in. He goes, yeah, I know, I watched it as well. So obviously didn't have a clue. And then first thing I could think about was like getting home to my mates, because I was still living with 8 of the lads in uni. And I was like, right, where are we going tonight? And then we obviously went to the pub and had a pretty good night out. And then it was just counting down to the start of the Lions. And my first game back then was the Barbars out in Hong Kong. Yeah. So because I was supposed to play Ulster actually away. It was the last game of the season. It was a dead rubber. And I think a lot of the lads spoke to Phil Davis, the coach at the time, and said, I don't think Cathy should play. Yeah. And he pulled me out day of the game to make sure, make sure you were right. Yeah, make sure I was right to go to the Lions.
What was the feeling? What's that feeling like? I know you said, because we all remember where we were, you know what I mean, when you had a letter through the door and everything. Was it because it was such a whirlwind? You're talking about signing for Cardiff, and then getting your first cap, and then the Grand Slam, and then all of a sudden, within that 3-year period, British and Irish Lions.
Yeah, 2 years. Within 2 years, it was Grand Slam Championship Lions. It was pretty brutal. Yeah. Incredible. Obviously, first cap 2011, but from that season,
it's amazing.
I guess at the time I probably just thought, oh, is this normal? Like, this is normal, is it? It was just for me. I was just doing what I was doing well to get me to that point, I guess. And I probably couldn't, in such a short period of time, I've hit the ceiling. I'm not really, obviously, in the World Cup, but. Yeah, it was such a whirlwind. And
carried on though, didn't it? Because you started the first test against Australia, scored a try off the back of a line out.
Yeah. Our set we've run a move we used to run all year actually for Wales. I think I scored about 5 or 6 that year for that, and it was one of the main moves we had for Cardiff Blues at the time. And I remember Johnny Sexton calling it, and just run as hard as I could, and I nearly thought about giving it to Lee, and I was like, nah, I'm going the whole way. So
that's a proper winger.
Wait straight under the post, and obviously we won that first test, and that was probably one of the hardest things, actually. We won that first test, and I was so high. I was thinking, right, can't wait for Melbourne, going to be playing, and then bang, Tuesday morning, Rob Howley grabbed me and said, yeah, we're dropping you to the bench. Fuck, I didn't want to take that well whatsoever. And then that was pretty hard to take. From then on, really, that was...
What was the reason?
Just said, I think Gats said that he wanted a bit more experience in Tommy Bowe. He was coming back from fitness, which I thought was bullshit at the time. Obviously, you know, I was a 23-year-old thinking I was the highest, you know, the high. And
you scored the try. And
I felt like I did enough, I guess, but the Lions is bigger than that. And I think I learned that pretty quickly within the week when I was sobbing around. And then I remember Faz grabbed me and was like, mate, fucking wise up, you know, it's not just you. This is a Lions, this is a team. It's about the whole team, not just individuals. And so, I learned that pretty quickly.
Did you appreciate somebody taking you aside and like Faz?
Probably not at the time. It probably wasn't until a couple of weeks later when I was like, yeah, I actually probably needed that.
Yeah.
You know? You don't know, as a 23-year-old, it's so hard to just say, oh, why didn't you wise up? But when you're like that and you think you're the absolute best of the best.
Did it change your behaviour? Did like him saying that? Did it make you aware to be like, or did you just?
Yeah, it did. It definitely did, because obviously I had quite a few setbacks in the next couple of years in terms of my form and not picked. And I guess it's just the way of how you react. And I'll be honest, that was the first time in my whole life I'd ever been dropped. And that's what I speak about when the boys in the Lions now, in terms of play first test and then suddenly you get dropped for second. Like, a lot of those lads they're a first choice for their country, aren't they, or club, and to have that feeling, it was a pretty, it was tough to take at the time, especially as they lost the second test.
Did you take Brian O'Driscoll aside in the third week?
I avoided Brian. That was,
what was it like to be in? Because obviously,
Cappuccino with Brian.
Can you imagine?
He had a good day of it, I think.
When you're on the outside and you're a supporter and you're working in the media and that, you know, when it was announced, everyone. What was it like in camp?
Well, so you wake up in the morning and you go and grab your brekkie, you turn around and who's on the table is Brian on his own. No one went and sat next to him.
No.
It was all of them were like, right, where's the table over there?
Yeah.
You try and avoid him. It was, because no one really, I don't think we ever saw it coming, because obviously Jamie was coming back fit. I think everyone just thought he'd be back on the bench, but he was always going to be, if he was fit, he was always going to start 12. And then obviously Jonathan was playing amazing at the time. And the decision's vindicated, isn't it? Now, but at the time, it was a little bit, you could feel the Irish sort of separate a little bit.
Yeah, it's difficult. Now.
And Foxy speaks quite well about how he said he got fed to the Lambs of Slaughter in terms of press. Literally just it was like sat there, he said that he's never seen so much. And like, so what makes you a better player than Brian Driscoll? First question, I remember him telling me. And he was like,
but it's never the player's fault, is it? The player can only do what the player does. You go out there, you try to be the best version of yourself and everything. And
selection is subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know what the Lions is like, isn't it?
Someone's,
it's a squad thing,
it's someone's opinion.
Yeah.
So,
God, it's tough.
Is that one regret that the ladies Lions wasn't around, Katy? And you know, we're looking at 2 years' time when they tour first.
I think it's those things, isn't it? If you never have had them to lose, you don't dream about being them. Like Rio would probably be the one that it was the big one, because then the opportunity to become an Olympian, and that was like something you never thought about rugby. So to go and do that probably would be my equivalent of a Lions. For the girls now, it'll be really interesting because it's the carrot's being dangled. So now you're like, ooh, I want to be part of that. But I think because it was never on the radar, it wasn't something that you miss. Would you like to be part of that? Of course, because of the history and the heritage that comes with Lions Association, and the kit looks awesome. It's a nice colour red.
It's very much like, I suppose, Wales in the 70s. If they had World Cups in the 70s, we'd have won 10 of them. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the same. We'll never know, Phil. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Let it go because you didn't win. Just gotta let it go.
It's nice. Gotta be honest with you. It's nice to have another non-World Cup winner in for a change. Isn't it?
Sport can be brutal, kind of. You get the highs and lows, and I think the lows probably mould you more than the highs. You know, they make you more resilient. And Cuthy, there has been some lows, and you know, you went through quite a large period playing for Wales where there was no tries, and form sort of dips up and down a little bit with the team, with yourself personally as well.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that? Was it tough?
Very tough, to be honest. I think obviously I had such a high period up until about 14, and then I remember having a bit of a niggle on my knee, and remember having to play like 18 months on it really, and my form was just that, But I used to get away. So Cardiff at the time, we weren't playing well at the time, and we weren't really winning a lot of games. But I got away with it when I went to Wales. In terms of my form, I was still playing quite well. I think over time, being in the Cardiff environment then, because we went through, I think 6, 7 different coaches. I think I had 9 different coaches in like 9 years at Cardiff. So that form that I was obviously playing it in Cardiff was then sort of transferring a little bit into the Wales team, and then we were going through a bit of a transition with a lot of older boys retiring, and yeah, I just wasn't playing well. I was trying too hard, but I had to just do it. I had to figure it out myself. I had no help. That was the one thing I was probably a little bit pissed off with. Maybe the union didn't really help me out in terms of like social media was getting massive then.
Yeah, they could see a player struggling.
Yeah, and I was getting absolutely hammered, whether it was walking down the street or on social media. So I had to cut that out of my life, because I think Rhys Prieston obviously went through a little bit of it at the time, and yeah, it was tough. It wasn't just tough for me; it was tough for my family when they would come to games and people were just hurling abuse, and my mum and dad had sat there, and it was a tough period. But I guess that's sport, isn't it? And I managed to get through that, and I got to, I think, 2018, and I obviously had the opportunity to get to Exeter, and that was the best decision I've ever made.
Why?
I think just get out of Wales, to be honest. I had enough. I'd done 10 years at Cardiff, just won the Challenge Cup, so I felt like my time at Cardiff would come to an end. I always thought I'd stay at Cardiff forever, but I just needed to get out, and Exeter was the perfect opportunity. And I guess timing-wise, it probably couldn't come at a better chance to join the Exeter Chiefs dynasty team, isn't it? Go on and win the league twice.
You always hear about Exeter, and you always hear like what a great team environment it is, like what great socials they have, camaraderie. What was it like there?
Yeah, mate, socials. I was, for about 3 months, I was absolutely shitting myself at the start, because I heard about the social, this initiation they call. And me and Santiago Cordera at the time were the 2 big sort of signings. And for months, we had likes of like Dave Ewers, Stu Townsend, Dave Dennis, all saying, "Geez, are you ready for this social? Are you ready for?" I was like, "Oh my God, what are we doing?" Tom Francis, obviously at the time with Wales, was telling me, "Mate, it's really bad." I was like, "What? What do you mean? How bad can it be?" I've done loads of socials, and the day came, and it was bad. Oh my God, yeah, it was. I actually can't say too much about it because there's a bit of a written sort of rule within Exeter, but. Yeah.
Sign an NDA, do you?
It was pretty much Exeter Chiefs
blood.
NDA, literally. And yeah, it is as bad as it says and worse. And it was just, like I said, it was the perfect team to go to in terms of just...
Just a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I think so. And the way that club is it's literally just a family. And that's what I felt like when I went there. And I had the best 3 years of my rugby career there, I think.
Just because the pressure's off, or just because of the
Well,
fans, or just
not
different
fans.
training, different mindset, different.
Yeah, just seeing the game from a different point of view. I think in Wales we can be it seems to be quite negative first and then positive. And I went there and straight away said this story when I played Newcastle away. First game I played, home I think it was. And you do review your game. They love they really look into everything in Exeter. We reviewed the whole game. And I came up with like good things and bad things, but the bad things were a lot more. Went to Ali Heifer, who was the backs coach at the time, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I thought I had a bit of a, all right game, but a couple of mistakes." He was like, "Shut up!" He goes, "Everything he said was positive. Everything was like, you did this really well. Loved your work rate here, but it was just no negatives." And like straight away, my whole mindset changed in terms of how I looked at the game of rugby. Because in Wales, the last 10 years, I guess everything was all negative first. Yeah. Whereas this was, it didn't care about mistakes.
But you're coming from a club, what you said, 9 coaches in 9 years.
Yeah.
Then to an environment where we've had, one coach, Rob Baxter, it's solid, everyone knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's a different environment. It's almost the complete opposite of what had become Cardiff, wasn't it?
Literally, yeah. We Rob Baxter, he was great. I was great with him. Very straight. Told me, if I wasn't doing well enough or I need, he'd always determine how well you played on the effort. And because the game plan was so simple as a back, I was like, right, just get into the 22, the forwards will take over, and the game. And Ali was very good with me in terms of just making sure I did 2-3 things, what I do really well, just, wow, don't worry about anything else. Just if you do that consistently
When you signed
really,
for
really well.
Exeter, did you think, that's it, I won't play for Wales again? Did you
Yeah, 100%. I
shut the door on?
Oh, yeah, I was...
It was a 60 cap rule then, wasn't
Yeah, and I was on about 58, I think,
Yeah.
at the time. So, yeah, it was... and then, obviously, I left. And that year I left, they ended up winning Grand Slam, didn't they, in 2019. So that was
Don't take it personally, because they've won loads that I haven't played.
So, yeah, that, you know, I completely cut Wales off. You know, I went there and I moved down there with the family and completely immersed myself as a Devon, you know, from the Devon area, and completely never thought I'd ever play for Wales again. So
I remember speaking to you once, you all remember this, but it's the only time I've ever told anybody this. And I said to you, Cathy, you're trying too hard. I said, you're in places that you have no right to be in. You're chasing things you have no right to chase. You're doing things that you're not going to get to. You need to play the game at 95% rather than the 110% that you were playing.
Yeah.
Because some of the mistakes you were making were because you're just so desperate to get to somewhere. I said, you will I don't care how quick you are, you're not going to get there. And my underriding memory was, you say Rob Baxter was effort. He must have loved you. He must have absolutely loved you, because I've never seen anybody play at 110% every time they play.
yeah, that was probably that was what was tough to get out of cycle-wise. I think when I went to Exeter, he did love that, and it shows really. You know, I was leaving the club and we had a final against Quins, and he's leaving Hoggy out on the bench and picking myself and Jack Noel you know, and that's how much respect I had with Rob, and I think he vice versa. And he was one of the first messages I had when we played England when I came back, and we should have won, and I was playing Knowlesy. He was the first one to message me saying like, congrats, and that was my 50th. So, you know, that was the respect I had with Rob.
fabulous.
Yeah,
So,
so you come back to the Ospreys then in 2021, is that right?
Yeah.
Was that a tough decision? Because you played all year rugby at Cardiff, and Cardiff was your team.
Yeah, it was tough.
You're going to, you know, an opposition.
Yeah, it was actually tough to leave Exeter, to be honest. And I think if it wasn't for the COVID and obviously the salary caps dropping an awful lot, there was a lot of boys left. I think I left in 21, Tom Francis did as well. There were a number of us, and then a year after, I think they all, you know, loads of boys left. Yeah, so that, you know, it was tough to leave there, and it was even tougher, to be honest, at the time, to join the Ospreys, because when I was at Cardiff, I hated the Ospreys. Like, it was always a game.
It was the big one, wasn't it?
It was
either
always
the Christmas Day or the New Year's Day.
It was always the one. We couldn't beat them.
You went just for the money.
No, I didn't go for money. I actually took a big pay cut.
You
to
hated
go
them
there.
that much.
Yeah, but I wanted to play rugby, Phil, at the time,
But it was purely about playing rugby.
playing rugby. And Wayne Pivac was in charge of Wales at the time, and I felt like I was playing well enough at Exeter when I was to maybe have a little sniff at back at Wales. Didn't think really at the time that I could, but then a couple of months in, Wayne Pivac rang me and said, "Mate, we want to call you back into the squad," and that was probably one of the best phone calls I've ever had. Yeah. I'll be honest.
Come back.
It really was. Yeah, it literally was. It was. People always ask me, "What's your favourite moment in my career?" And you know, I've been lucky enough to win Grand Slam, Lions Tour, Championship, Heineken Cup, Challenge Cup, Premiership. But that phone call to say we want you back into the Wales squad after 4 or 5 years out was up there.
I suppose as a rugby player,
with a family now.
You could have stayed in Wales, kicked around a bit, felt sorry for yourself. You lived off the back of what you've done. You put yourself in a really difficult environment, going down to Exeter, challenging yourself, standing up for it, and then coming back to Wales and earning that right to wear the Welsh jersey again. That's
proper.
That's ballsy.
Yeah, proper.
Yeah, respect that, boy.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it. No, it was it was very, and obviously I had my son as well during COVID, so that was another sort of reason why I was playing, and like I said, like when Wayne rang me to say that he was calling me into the autumn, that was a pretty cool moment.
What did it feel like going into camp? Because you went into camp as a ballsy 20-year-old, getting in there, no
very
problem,
brash,
absolutely
arrogant,
lovely,
confident.
Having that time out, did that first day in camp feel different?
It did, very much so. I think it was like, you know, when you say, "Oh, I wish I knew what I knew now," and it was like that.
Well, you did.
I did. So I literally did. So it was like me going back in as a first timer, but I knew everything that was probably going to come, and I just enjoyed it. Absolutely loved it. There was a good bunch of boys, a lot of my mates who I grew up in the academy with were still there. You know, like Sir Thomas Williams, Ellis Jenkins, Gareth Hanscom, one of my best mates. So it was a great crew. Liam Williams, Gareth Davis, all these lads, you know, I played with and I hadn't seen for 4 or 5 years. Came back in and I was like a kid in a candy shop again in terms of just like, wow, here we go. And I didn't think I was going to play because I think Wayne, to be fair, he called me in a week or two after the squad was announced because he didn't want the media to go absolutely mental because it would have been like, oh, all that. But
so you thought you were going to be a bit of fodder? You thought you were just doing making numbers?
Maybe I thought I was, but I knew I was good enough to play because obviously there was Rhys Samet, Josh Adams, myself, and we were the three. And I was like, right, you know, I knew what I could do well. My point of difference was very different to those two lads in terms of the way that international works. I feel like my game probably fits more international than a lot of wings I watched. But I didn't think I was probably going to start straight away, and I didn't. And then I got my opportunity against Fiji, and that was the first game, and I guess I took that. And since then, under Wayne, I was probably first choice Wales.
For a try as well?
Yeah, scored in the corner, and then obviously after that tour, I think we went to South Africa, and we first Welsh team to win out in Bloemfontein out there.
That was a hell of a win, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I started that game, and that was up there, one of the best atmospheres I've been involved in as well. So yeah, I love winning.
Did you feel so when you got back in that Welsh team? Did it justify all the hassle, all the criticism, the move,
all the injuries? I had a lot of injuries.
Did it justify that? Then did you sit down at some point and go, do you know what?
I did, yeah, I did, I'll be honest. I remember when I got that phone call away and I opened up a real nice bottle of red and was like, right, I worked my ass off. That was the first thing my wife told me. She was like, you've worked so fucking hard to get back to that.
Go to the top shelf.
Because I guarantee you the amount of lads that probably, if they'd gone through what I'd gone through in terms of just the way I was playing, you know, it's nothing really, but all the shit I was taking, went away to come back, you know, it was like a sense of achievement. It really was, and I took it with both hands, really.
Stick to Rugby is brought to you by Defender.
Rhys Samet now has gone away for a couple of years differently because he's been out of the game, but he's coming back. What would your bit of advice be to him now?
To him, I think he knows what he can do. He knows his point of difference, doesn't he? I think is his speed. And I thought when he went to the NFL, it was a win-win. Because these young lads, absolute unbelievable opportunities. Going to play in the NFL, like, come on. And if anyone says, "Oh, why is he doing that?" Like, he couldn't have gone away at a better time, could he? Really, in terms of the way Wales are playing. Because even if he was playing, I'll be honest, he ain't doing anything, is he? The way we were playing, but him coming back now, it's like a sort of rejuvenation in terms of Welsh Rugby. He is a pin-up boy, isn't he, in terms of Welsh Rugby, and he's at a good club to do it at Bristol and the way they want to play.
Phenomenal.
You know, and he's gonna. I know for a fact he would have come back a way more professional athlete than he was. He was pretty laid back. I guess he relied on his skill sets to go through. But I think now that NFL. I guess model in terms of how you need to know everything you're running and training, he would have learned an awful lot because he was only 21. I know exactly how he was feeling. He was probably thinking he was absolute dog's bollocks. Didn't need to do the extras. Didn't need to do blah blah blah. Whereas now he's seen it on a different, you know, on another level. Because the NFL, as an athlete, they are on a different planet to rugby.
Did you ever get asked to go to the NFL?
I did actually. Yeah, I did. Yeah, 2016, 17, I think it was. I went to
the international pathway.
Yeah, I did a little trial up in Watford, where I think the Tottenham Hotspur training ground, and actually really badly. I did it on a Wednesday on a day off before the Six Nations game.
Did you? Did you?
Which was a bit mental. 40-yard dash, jump. Yeah, I was going as a tight end, and but I was and ahhing because I was out of contract, and it was like the fourth game in the Six Nations, and obviously Zam left before the Six Nations, so we had quite a big time before the combine. I don't think I would have had enough time, and those guys, tight ends, it's like.
Were you a fan of NFL
freaks.
before?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, love it. Big Eagles fan.
I'm not. You didn't ask me if I got approached by.
Did you?
No.
Did you?
No.
Special teams.
What's your special?
Special.
Right, come on, scrimmage.
They're absolute freaks.
They're unbelievable athletes, aren't they?
Like, I went to, years and years ago, I went to Wembley to watch the Vikings play, and lucky enough to get down by the dugout. Yeah. And you walk out thinking, I'm a rugby player, they're probably about my size. You're literally like that. And with the pads as well, you look like just a normal human being next to them. They're absolute freaks, yeah.
I remember going out to watch the New England Patriots train in 1992. And we were there now, and we were watching these guys, and they were massive, shot, boom, 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 bang, bang. You could hear the crashes. When somebody hits a golf ball, pure, that crack, noise, and it was crack. They were there. And there was a wide receiver. He had arms and triceps, and he had legs, and he was massive. He walked over. I said, "Hey guys, you play rugby? Oh, you must be mad playing without pads." I said, "Oh," he said, "Hang on, let me take my." He took his top off and he took his hat off. He had no chest, no back, nothing. He just had arms and legs. You know what I mean? There was no chest. There was no Phil chest day going on there. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable. I went, "Oh," I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Man, when you got arms like this, you don't need no chest." Crack on, son. Crack on. Put a big old pads on. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it is. I do love the NFL. I remember watching the Eagles game as well, and we went down and they just won the Super Bowl. I think it was 2017. And the ring, the big rings they get, they just got them in. And I was like, we were chatting to him. And he's like, "Can I try it on?" He's like, "Yeah, man, no worries." Put it on, thinking, it'd be massive. Surely it'd go on and off easy. Put it on, no joke. For 45 minutes, I couldn't get it off.
No.
This bloke was fuming. He was like the GM, and I was sat there trying to pull this ring off. He had to get a lotion.
Anybody got any butter?
Literally, my missus did it. She was like, "Mate, you literally got this ring stuck on my finger." Because my fingers are all
you were nearly a
smashed.
Super Bowl champion.
Literally, yeah, nearly got it.
Actually, no,
I'll be honest, I think with the Eagles, they would have probably chopped my finger off.
I agree, it was going.
So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
And just before we get into some community questions we've got for you, what have you made of Wales and the situation Welsh Rugby's in right now? Because, you're heavily involved in rugby as a pundit now.
Yep.
We sort of live and breathe it when we live over there.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
There's lots going on. Are you a fan of two teams?
Am I a fan of two teams?
Or do you think it should be four?
I think if you look at it from a financial point of view, two teams obviously would be the way forward, but I don't think we are going to create enough players to, you imagine if you only have two teams, you're only going to have literally two world-class 10s, aren't you, really, in terms of environment. If you look at from 2008 onwards, I think we win a championship every 3 years on average with four teams. I say it's not bad, is it, really? Yeah. So there must be we need to find a way to try and keep as many teams as possible. I don't think four equally funded teams is going to happen.
I personally think at the moment 2 fully funded teams and 2 development teams.
But still have 4 teams playing.
Still have 4 teams. Yeah. And that way then, because people don't think about it, right? The way I look at it is that if you've got 4 teams where they are now, then all those players who live. I know a lot of those. I wouldn't have all the players living around Cardiff either, because you know what I mean. If you play with Llanelli, you should live around that Llanelli area. You should live, because if you go to the 2-team model and they go to that one training base, I've got to be honest with you. If you're an Ospreys player and I'm a Scarlets player, I don't want to see you every day. No, the whole thing about going into national camp is not seeing the players all the time. It is that hate. It's horrible. I hate you when you're in an Ospreys top, but I love you when you're in the Welsh top. You know what I mean?
The issue you've got isn't whether it's 2 or 4 teams, because I think if you combine the 4 teams into 2, I don't think we'd be as competitive as people think straight away.
I'll be honest.
It's the system that needs to be fixed. The system is developing players from 13, 14, 15, 16.
We aren't creating. If you're going to be we don't have good enough rugby players coming through, do we really?
No. All I hear is negativity coming out of Wales, and I totally understand it with history and heritage. What you've got is broken, isn't it? Now,
yes,
it's broken.
Yes.
So how do we fix it? Now, if trying to fund 4 professional teams cannot be done, then it cannot be done. We could argue about it. But for me, some of my greatest memories of Welsh rugby are actually going out to the Prem clubs. The Pontypridd, Pontypool, Caerphillies, Aberystwyth. Why can't you energise the next tier down to then help develop and help those teams and create identity and create where you're coming from?
That's what will happen though. This is what I'm saying, the 2-team model, if you look at it, what the extra money funds Super Rugby,
Yeah.
Super Cymru Rugby, and then national academies, which is what we lost in about 2017-18, which they gave the clubs the money, and then the clubs obviously just bought extra players. They didn't worry about the national academy. So weirdly, the two-team model will. Like it will work, but I think then in the long term it won't work in terms of we're not going to be creating enough players.
But if you want to engage, because we're not just talking about players here, are we? What are the viewing numbers? What are the coaches? What are the people coming to games?
What team's going to be called? Who's going to support? You know, it's
You're not going to have two teams under the same roof, like Scott said. Like that is definitely.
Anyway, we've got ourselves into a vortex which we might not get out of.
I just get so frustrated because Welsh rugby is awesome, and all the history and the heritage of it.
Yeah.
And it's just how you can move that forward. And it will. And you're never going to keep everyone happy, but we need Welsh rugby.
What I dread to think is that if everything was centred in Cardiff or Bridgend, where possibly it would be, where do these young kids in Llanelli or Carmarthen, where do they see their heroes?
North Wales as well.
Or North Wales. Where do they see their heroes walking around? Where do they see their Phil Vickerys? Where do they see their Katys? Where do they see them walking around and they can bump into them? I remember Paul Thorburn driving through 5 roads once, right? And he drove through, and it was after the sixth when he and I went, oh, it's Paul Thorburn. And just I run home and I said, Dad, I saw Paul Thorburn. And you know, and it's like, you need to see these people. And if you've only got 100 of them, then, and they're all living in one place, it's going to dilute everything that we believe in. That's my rant. I'm going to have one of these now.
Before we let you go, we've got some community questions that have come from people who are watching the show. So, your sporting hero?
Sporting hero. I was pretty big into my athletics, so I think Usain Bolt would be up there.
Good one. Funniest teammate?
So many. There's quite a few lads at Exeter. Stu Townsend's up there. The prawn. So if you ever get him on, he's. But the funniest would be Lou Reed. I don't know if you heard of Lou Reed. Brilliant. So he used to be at Scarlets and at Cardiff. He's the only man I've ever heard on a pitch bark in a scrum at Bacchies Botha. So yeah, he's got a very good story on that.
Nice. Best player you played with?
I think Justin Tipperic's up there in terms of as a Welsh player. But I think I played Barbars against Ireland, and I think Joe Rokakoka for me. He was. I don't know if it was just that game, but he was on another level. Like just sitting blokes down, whether they were front row. George Smith's actually up there as well. I remember that game. He was. They kept running like a 6-man minus, so he was the first receiver, and they had a guy called Geordie Murphy on the other side, and they kept running this play. He ran into George Smith. He absolutely ended him, and he sat over the top of him saying, "Oh, come on, go again, mate." The next one, Geordie Murphy just sat out the wing the ball, and from then the whole rest of the game, George Smith's running around saying, "You absolutely." And so yeah, that whole Barbars trip was pretty good.
Best player you played against?
Again, I played probably the best All Blacks team, Carter, McCaw. I think Israel Dag. I think he's up there. Pretty underrated. I think he's an unbelievable player, just could do everything. And he's the only player I've tried to run round and couldn't. So.
The next one, most underrated player you've played with?
Underrated player I played with. I'd say someone like Casey Lala at Cardiff. Pretty underrated. He was massive in my career as well early on, especially my first year. I think he probably doesn't get.
You could play.
I think he gets forgotten a little bit because of Ray Lilo. Obviously, had been at Cardiff for so long. But in terms of my, I guess, playing career, he'd be up there.
Funniest comment you've heard on a pitch during your career?
It was something like. Who was saying it? It was on. I was in the game, and someone said something about when David Luiz was getting that shit as well, and he was like, "Oh, you're a poor man's David Luiz." I was like, "Oh, fucking hell!" I was like, "Oh, that cut me deep."
Yeah.
So I was got a good one.
Best day on a rugby pitch?
Best day would probably have to be that England 30-3 game, yeah.
And then the toughest day on a rugby pitch?
Toughest. Probably losing to South Africa in the quarter-final. They scored in the corner, yeah. That was pretty brutal.
What would your teammates say about you?
Oh, I don't know. I actually don't know, really.
Love the social.
Love the social. They probably call me 110 because I used to injure a lot of boys in training and stuff because I'm still I'm like a bag of spanners, really. So
Like all arms and legs on your phone.
yeah, like, so we used to do like a lot of like, high ball drills, and
there's nothing.
and
for
I'd
it.
obviously just get a full, and the old boys like, oh no, Kathy's coming. And like, yeah, you haven't. So, yeah, probably something like that.
Final one. Best piece of advice you've ever received in rugby or otherwise?
Probably just don't think about it too much. I think in terms of whatever feels natural to you, just go with it. I think it was only when I probably thought about things too much and didn't do what I did well, is why I probably went in my spiral. But it wasn't until I learned that and I figured out what I did well and I did it. So yeah, something like that.
Kathy, you're a great example of resilience in rugby. You went away from Welsh Rugby, trained hard, came back, got your rewards, and thank you so much for coming on Stick to Rugby.
Cheers, mate. Did you have to read that? Or was that
No, that was
Somebody didn't know.
Cheers, Shanks.
You actually meant that. You could tell that.
I know, yeah. Cheers.
It is written down.
Bottom lip started
It is
going.
written down.
Someone just WhatsApped it. Cheers, Shanks.
Top man.
Top man. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.